The first thing that I want to remind you to do is to make sure you use a ruler and you focus on being neat and orderly. This is going to be especially important as you're submitting everything by pictures, and it's a little bit harder for me to read when things are submitted that way. So please make sure you use your ruler and you focus on writing neatly in print, and carefully erase fully when you need to erase, and just present your papers nice and neatly. The other thing that I want to remind you of and will continue working with is how we diagram compound or complex sentences. So far we've learned how to diagram compound sentences, and that's the sentence we're going to diagram today. Remember, a compound sentence is made up of two independent clauses. So two clauses are simple sentences that could individually be sentences by themselves. The two that we have today are: the fuzzy white puppy jumped over the fence is our first independent clause. The second one is: he licked the girl's cold nose. So one of the things we have to first determine is what pattern are each of these sentences. If we look at our first one, the fuzzy white puppy jumped over the fence, that is simply a pattern one sentence. It has a subject noun and a verb. And then here we have a prepositional phrase. So there's no direct object, indirect object, and it is an active verb. It is not a linking verb. So it's simply a pattern one sentence. Over here, he licked the girl's cold nose. We have our subject noun he, our verb licked, and then we ask the question, licked what? Licked nose. Verbed what is a direct object question. So when we ask verbed what, we say verbed nose. We know that we have a direct object. We don't have a to whom or a for whom question to answer in here, so it's simply a pattern two sentence. So we have a pattern one sentence and a pattern two sentence, and we're going to diagram those right now. The first one we just diagrammed separately, right? The fuzzy white puppy jumped over the fence. Use our ruler and give it our subject verb line nice and neatly. What jumped over the fence? Puppy. Puppy is the subject of our sentence. It is doing the action of our sentence. What did the puppy do? What's the verb? Jumped is our verb. Everything else in our sentence are modifiers. So anything that modifies our subject is an adjective. We have the, fuzzy, and white, all modify puppy. We're going to capitalize the because it is capitalized in the sentence. Fuzzy, white. So the fuzzy, white, puppy jumped. And then over the fence, what is that describing? Is that describing puppy? Is it an over the fence puppy? No, that doesn't make sense. It's describing jumped. Jumped where? Over the fence. So our prepositional phrase is going to hang off of jumped. Oops. Over is our preposition. Over what? Fence. Object of the preposition, the. Article adjective. So there is our first independent clause. The fuzzy white puppy jumped over the fence. Our second one, again, we're going to diagram it as its own sentence. He licked the girl's cold nose. We definitely need a subject verb line because we always need one of those. So the subject of our second clause is he, referring back to the puppy. He, what did the puppy do? The puppy licked. Puppy licked what? Nose, direct object. So if you remember, our direct object line is straight up and down, but it does not go through the main line of the sentence. Licked what? Licked nose. And then we'll go back and check the modifiers that we have. We have a cold nose. Oops. What kind of nose? Cold nose. Whose nose? Girls. So girl by itself is a subject, but when we put a possessive S, an apostrophe S, make it possessive, it becomes an adjective. So we have girls. Girls with our apostrophe S on it. And then the is actually modifying girls. And so it's going to come off of girls as its own little modifier. Put our straight line there. And then we go the same direction. The. He licked the girl's cold nose. Okay, so now we've used up all of our modifiers. The only word we have left to diagram is and. Remember, and is a coordinating conjunction. It's joining two independent clauses here. So we're going to use our dashed lines and come down from jump. We'll go just a little bit longer so it doesn't look like it's coming off of white. And then we're going to draw a horizontal solid line there. And then another set of vertical dashed lines. And because it's going to go right into my word licked, I'm just going to leave it above licked and not draw it down in there. And then up here we write and. So when we finish, we want to check and make sure we have all of our words up there. The fuzzy white puppy jumped over the fence, and he licked the girl's cold nose. So we have a pattern 1 clause joined to a pattern 2 clause with the coordinating conjunction and to form a compound sentence. All right, today I have sent you, and you should already have in your binders in that set of colored, in between the colored paper, a diagramming patterns 1 through 5 worksheet. These, I don't think any of these sentences are compound sentences, though they might have compound words in them. But you should be able to do all of these now, patterns 1 through 5, so check and see what pattern it is first before you start diagramming it. Remember, when you diagram, you may do it either on a piece of graph paper or a piece of lined paper. If you have blank paper at home, you're welcome to do it on blank printer paper as well. Just make sure you clearly number what sentence you are diagramming, and then nice and neatly use your ruler, a good eraser, pencil to diagram it on the space that you've given yourself, and then move on to the next one. Your assignment for today is to diagram diagram sentences on the worksheet 1 through 5. And I will be back with you later.